So I'm really excited for this video because I am such a huge fan of my friend Goldman. You should totally check out his channel and then join me in bothering him to make more content. So I hope you will just spam him. You're welcome, Omri. So now here he is. Let's say hi to my friend. Hey, Omri. Omri? Where are you?
You know, Katie, all the previous people that you interviewed, they were so awesome. There were these actresses and these people with shiny personalities, and the bar is set so high. I don't know how I can even compare to those awesome people. So I was thinking that maybe by showing off my editing skills, I can somehow stand out. Hence this this silly entrance sequence. So yeah, anyways, I prepared for us some coffee. Where I come from, food and drinks is not only something that you physically nourish your body with, but it's also something that we use to bring people together. So this is a black coffee. Actually, it's a freshly grinded black coffee. Look how beautiful that is, and you can smell. Just smell it. So it's customary here. I think it's an Arab custom to add a spice, a plant that we make spice of. It's called cardamom. I would say it has this bittersweet flavor, and adding it into the coffee gives it a really deep and rich flavor. So yeah, I hope these cups of coffee somehow symbolize the conversation we're about to have. And let me just hand your cup to you. Give it a sniff. Okay, Katie, here's to another awesome conversation. We've been having many, so here's to another awesome conversation. Cheers. Take it in small sips. Okay, I think we can begin. And also, I would like to offer a small game or a small aspect we can add to this conversation. So you know how in like therapy groups, they use a ball and they pass a ball to each other. Whenever someone receives the ball, they get the opportunity or the chance to speak. So I was thinking maybe we can do that. So anytime someone asks a question, they pass the ball to the other catches the ball and then answers the question. So yeah, since I prepared us some coffee, and I just explained that coffee is something we use to bring people together here. And my first question to you is, what is one custom or one tradition that you have, that you do when bringing people together? So here's the bowl. Are you ready?
That's so weird. It turned into a pine cone. The coffee that you gave me magically transformed into tea as well because I don't like coffee. I know. I'm an uncultured swine. Something that I like to do in bringing people together is to tilt my head back, flare my nostrils, and say, "Nostrils of death." How's that working? Okay, if anybody's watching this and doesn't know who I am and is not familiar with this channel, I don't know why I end my sillier videos. Well, some of my videos. Some of the videos I end it with, some of them I don't. But anyway, I don't have like a thing that I'd want to do when bringing people together, and I don't have any cool traditions in my family. I wish I did. Like, any times that I've been able to be a part of bringing people together, it's been like for a birthday party or a housewarming party, and there's food involved and trying to make sure there's enough chairs for people. Best answer ever. So now I'd really like to find out some more about you. So here it comes.
Katie! Okay, so my name is, you know what? This is my name. Now, in Hebrew we have this term, we say, lishbor shinaim. It means to break your own teeth. We say it when you struggle to speak someone else's language. You kind of break your own teeth from all the struggle. So yeah, try to break your teeth this conversation. Now, English speakers pronounce this name Omri. In Hebrew, my name sounds Omri. My name is Omry Goldman. And just to expand a bit more on this name of mine, so Omri was actually a king in the Jewish Bible. Now, if you go to the Wikipedia page of Omri the king, I'm gonna have to put it up somewhere here, but just look at it. Look at this handsome man of a man. I mean, just look at the resemblance, right? The chin and this nose, this perky nose. I mentioned Hebrew, so I come from Israel. I grew up in a small city, not so far off Tel Aviv. I'm 31 years old. A little bit about my life story. I served in the military as a commanding officer in a combat unit for 7 years. I then served in the Israeli Ministry of Foreign Affairs. I was relocated to the Netherlands and I was living in Amsterdam for 4 years. And about a couple of years ago, I decided to kind of forfeit the service of the country, of the state, in pursuit of my passion, which is filmmaking. So I set up my own company where I help other companies and organizations to establish an online presence using video. And I'm about to start film school in a couple of months. And I've been studying for a bachelor's in history, philosophy, and literature for the past few years. So that's me and that's where I come from. Now, whenever someone answers this question, I think they always do what I just did, which is kind of say how old they are, kind of tell their life story, and also say what they do for a living. For some reason, these aspects have become like the standard for people introducing themselves. So I want to ask you the same, but I want to take it from a different angle. So instead of asking you how old you are, I'm going to ask you, how old do you feel? Do you feel younger than you actually are? Do you feel older, or do you feel the same, and why? That's the first question. The second question, instead of asking you your life story, I want to ask you, what's one takeaway that you've taken from life so far? What's one idea you learned in life that kind of guides you and guides your decisions and choices in life? And instead of asking you what you do for a living, allow me to ask you, what's your passion and what's your calling in life? And do you feel like you're expressing it or manifesting it or somehow taking part in making that passion happen in your life? So these were 3 questions, Katie. Here's the ball. And
Nailed it. Okay, so these were really complicated, good questions. Let's see. Slurp. It's hot. Okay. How old do I feel? This is a good question. Dude, I feel a lot older than a lot of people in some ways because of my travels. But in other ways, I feel a lot younger than people because of my lack of the adult experience. You know, a lot of the adult stuff Morton has to do because of Swedish, you know, like paying rent and keeping track of stuff like that. There's just a lot of, and the fact that I don't have a driver's license, like there's a lot of things that make me feel young too, not to mention the fact that I have a young person's job. What's the second question? Like, what is my calling? I don't know. Building community is something that is obviously really important to me, and sharing hope, sharing positivity, sharing authenticity, I think is one of the things that I was put on this planet for. I know that I'm doing this with this channel I don't know if there's more out there for me. I don't know. So here's my question with a little bit of a story background. Did you ever meet someone and then you just had a much different reaction to them than you thought you would? Okay, here's my story. I was at a Comic-Con and I was waiting in line to meet Barbara Eden, who played Jeannie in the 1960 show I Dream of Jeannie. And there was this other guy who was another co-star of the show, and nobody was waiting in line to see him. And I recognized him as this face, this friendly, sweet face, this face that I had seen so many times watching reruns as a kid. And he was so old, and no one wanted to talk to him. And meeting him, I was crying. It was just so bizarre. Go away, fly. I'm trying to talk about something meaningful here. You don't have the sock. So that's my story. So did you ever have a weird thing happen like that? Oh, I should say also that I was really, really happy to talk to him. And he's like, well, it's really nice to hear someone tell you how wonderful you are. Yeah, you are wonderful. I don't remember what I said, but he was touched, and he's not alive anymore. Like, I'm so glad that I got to meet him. Okay, here we go.
Okay, I'm gonna approach this from a bit of a different angle. Okay, that's a story that I've been carrying with me for a few years now, and I don't know if I've managed to find an explanation to that thing, to that happening. So, in Hebrew we have this term called Ohev Adam. It literally translates to a lover of humankind. It refers to people who they just love the world, they're just happy about life, they love people. And I really feel like I'm that kind of person. I love people, I love meeting new people. I'm never judgmental towards people I meet, and I'm always approaching new encounters with extremely positive and open mind. In today's world, I feel like many people are very impatient about other people who have different views than theirs. And I personally am very much not like that. I can totally listen to someone who has a completely different life view from me. I can run a conversation with them. I can even really connect with them on a personal level. So, I dropped the ball. So, I also think that part of being a storyteller, I want to hope that I am a storyteller, part of it I think is the ability to listen to all kinds of stories, even if they are completely contradictory to your own worldviews or your own understanding of the world. And there was one time, it was in high school, so maybe being young and still a kid back then had something to do with it, but there was one time where there was this girl who I don't know, we barely even talked, but just her presence around me felt so bad to me that I can't even explain it. It's not like she did anything to hurt me. It's not like she did anything to hurt any of my surroundings or my friends, but there was something about her presence around me that felt to me, I don't know, maybe repulsive is a strong word. What's a lighter word than repulsive? Let me check Thesaurus. Repelled? I felt repelled by her presence. Oh, no. Unpleasant. Okay. Yeah, unpleasant is a good word. Sorry, English is not my first language. Her presence around me felt very, very unpleasant to me, and there is no logical reason for that happening, other than, I don't know, it was something about her aura, the energies she was sending out, her karma. I don't know what it was. Until today, I cannot find a good explanation to what happened there. But that was the first and only time I can remember not liking being around a certain person. So yeah, that I think is the answer to your question. Katie, you're asking me very personal questions. I want to ask you questions about YouTube. if that's okay. I never liked the term YouTuber because YouTube is a platform. YouTube is basically a tool that creators use to do whatever it is that they do. And it's very strange to me that a person of creation is referred to by the tool they use. So it's like, if I'm thinking about this logic, then a chef who uses a knife to prepare their dishes, they should be called knifers. And the painter who uses a brush to draw their pictures, according to that logic, they should be referred to as brushers. I don't know, I never liked the word YouTube. I don't think it envelops the complexity that is doing what people do on YouTube, and I really think it diminishes it as well. So my question to you, if you could change the word YouTuber to describe what it is that you do, what other word would you use? So here's the ball. I hope the question was clear. Here's the ball. Ready?
It's so hard to put words to these kinds of things, like friendship making, community building, bridge making. I don't know, like, I want to be that weird friend who's there for you. I want to help connect misfits and creatives and expats, or people who aren't necessarily expats but are willing to expand their awareness of other cultures and other ways of life. I want to be surrounding myself with the coolest, most kind, most generous, most loving people that are out there. Like, I want this to be my tribe. So, I am Katie. I'm not a YouTuber. I'm a wonderful people gatherer. Because that's really fun and so rewarding. Like these conversations, without having been building a friendship for like a year, you watching each other's videos, or longer than a year now, I guess. You were just like one of the most wonderful people in my life. And I'm just so thankful for this platform to be able to connect us and our experiences. So, where do you feel the most at home? It's a dice my husband gave me for my birthday. Here we go.
Ooh, that's Katie, you knew what questions to ask. It's a very deep question. Where do I feel the most at home? Home is a very charged and complicated term for Jewish people. So, kind of, if I'm looking at it from a historical perspective, then kind of for thousands of years, Jewish people were yearning to return to this land that we're now in, Israel. And for example, I'm not a religious or a devoted or a faithful person, but I do consider myself Jewish, and I take part in the Jewish tradition. And every few months, my entire extended family comes together to celebrate the Jewish holidays. And throughout the Jewish holidays, part of the tradition is kind of reciting the prayers that express this longing of returning to Israel. And this is something that my ancestors have been wishing for, doing the same for thousands and thousands of years. And this is really, I really feel like this is part of my DNA. If we talk about the more short-term history, then my grandparents, or my grandfather from my father's side, he was German. And he was in Germany as the Nazi party took power. A part of his family and he himself were lucky enough to be able to escape before the Holocaust started, but another part of my family wasn't as fortunate. And back then, when my grandfather escaped, he was basically a refugee, and no other place in the world accepted refugees at that time. So from the other side of the Atlantic, the United States shut its gate. From the north, the UK wouldn't accept anyone, and no other country within Europe would accept any Jewish person. The only place they had or they could escape at that time was to the British Mandate of Palestine, which has over the years become Israel. So both in the long-term history and in the short-term history, Israel is kind of a big part of what Jewish people refer to as home. And not only that, the military service in Israel is mandatory. So in your military service, of course, you are protecting your country with your own body and with your own life, and that's also something that adds to it all. And when I quit the military, I can't really explain it until today, but I felt like I had to get the hell out of here. I couldn't stay here anymore. My service was really, really difficult, and I've been through some very uneasy years, and I felt like I needed to leave everything behind and just go somewhere else. And that's why I also traveled for many months around the world, and afterwards worked hard to be relocated to another country. Being in the Netherlands was actually the first time that I experienced the life of an adult, the civil life of an adult, and I flourished. I really found my place in the Netherlands. This place greeted me with open arms, and just as it's just too much to put into words, but my experience in the Netherlands was in the sense of understanding the term home was life-changing to me. So this was a very very long answer to a very short question, but to answer your question, what I learned is that home is not a place where you are nationally tied to. Home is a place where you gather the most positive experiences. So basically home can be anywhere, as long as you are making it a good place for yourself. So I do not feel at home anywhere. I would say that nowadays I feel like a person of the world. I feel like the world is my home. It's very complicated. Okay, Katie, my question to you, again about YouTube. So, as you know, and we've talked about it quite a lot, I've had my YouTube channel, which I ran for a year. I worked very hard on it, and I ended up kind of leaving it in the side for now because a very deep lack of motivation. I felt like I was working extremely hard on that YouTube channel, and I didn't get the reward that I was hoping to get, both in terms of my own personal feelings and also in terms of the viewership, of how people reacted and how the world reacted to my videos. So again, I have 3 questions to you in that regard. First, do you feel that you gain anything from making YouTube videos? And if so, what is it? The second question, where do you draw your motivation to keep making YouTube videos? Your rate of publishing videos is extremely impressive. Like, I really admire that. You just keep on making more and more and more videos. So where do you draw your motivation from? What gives you motivation to go on and do that? And my third question is, which part of the creative process do you enjoy the most, and why? So here's the ball.
Listening to what you had to say about home, about your family, about the history in your family, and your rawness of what you spoke it with, I had tears in my eyes. I just wanted to give you a hug. It's just, I know I've said this to you before, but it's so fascinating for me as an American white kid that grew up learning about the Jewish people, God's chosen people. I remember when I met the first Jewish kid I ever met was in my class in like 3rd grade, and he would like pray before he ate anything, snacks, meals. And I remember being like, wow, that's amazing. It was before our family actually started going to church regularly. So seeing people pray was weird for me, but it was cool too. I was like, wow, you're so fascinating. Anyway, I'm blabbering on. I just want to thank you so much for sharing this. I know it's really going to touch anybody who takes the time to watch this video. Do I gain something? Oh man, do I? I seriously do, because when I share my heart, other people share theirs sometimes. And the connections that I've made in real life with people, like with you, with Yovi, different people, I was a part, I played a small part in inspiring one of my friends, Jo, to start her own YouTube channel documenting her marathon training. I'll put her channel down below in the description. Being able to be connected to people, like some of my videos, I make them and I'm like, I know this is only for the friends. This is not going to get a lot of views. That's okay. In other videos, the thing that I get from it is just so much satisfaction for making something that I love, that is just, that comes together and tells the story and is a place to put all these beautiful memories that I don't want to lose together. So there's so much that keeps me going. Oh, I guess that kind of bled into the next question. Drawing my motivation. They're kind of the same question in my mind. From those things, from sharing the memories and knowing that there's special people in my life, people that I've never even met, like ja, ich bin hier. I gotta say it the proper German way. Knowing that like he's gonna enjoy it. In the fact that there are people that I've never met in real life that are a part of my life is something that gives me so much inspiration. Which part of the creative process do I enjoy the most? Oh, I really love editing. I love writing. I love taking the clips that I have and pulling the best moments out of them. I've recently started really enjoying storyboarding to figure out, taking my clips ahead of time and figuring out where can I fit this in with that. Figuring out this process of B-roll is something that used to really intimidate me, but now I'm really enjoying. Same with thumbnails. I'm finding myself enjoying it more and more. So keeping it fresh by trying new things also is really fun. And we still have some really, really wonderful questions to go through, but I'm going to save them for the next video because I don't want this to go too long. I want people to actually be able to watch it all the way to the end. So thanks so much for watching. Thanks so much for being here, spending this time with us. Remember, check out Omri's channel. Tell him, dude, make more videos. You're stinking talented. In fact, please comment, Omri is stinking talented if you made it this far. Thank you so much. So anyway, here's what we do. Hugs and nostrils of death.